So the next question in exception handling, if we consider exception handling, there are two important questions which were asked repeatedly. There are two important questions which were asked repeatedly. The first one, what is the difference between final, finally and finalize? So this one, what is the difference between final, finally and finalize? So this one is the very important. The next important question in the exception handling, the most repeatedly asked question, what is the difference between checked exception and unchecked exceptions? Checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions, right? So this is the next most valuable question. So for the interview room, if you go for any, suppose assume 10 interviews you attended, minimum 8 to 9 interviews, yes, this question should be there. What is the difference between checked exception and unchecked exception? Compulsory, each and every person should have clear clarity here. Okay, this here. So keep submitting. Difference between checked and unchecked exceptions. Difference between checked and unchecked exceptions. Checked and unchecked exceptions. Checked and unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions. Okay, first let me explain with an example. So first let me go for a small example, then you people can able to understand, right? Suppose I am taking a class test. I am taking one class test. Here public static void main method, string array args I am taking. Public static void main string array args. My requirement is just I am taking print writer PW is equal to new print writer of print writer PW is equal to new print writer of abc.txt. Yes, I am creating one print writer to write data to which file? abc.txt. Just I am trying to write pw dot println of hello like I am trying to write. And then even system.out.println 10/0 also I am taking. SOP of 10/0. Now I will ask, so one print writer is there, right? Print writer available in which package? IO package. Let me write the import statement for IO also. Import java.io.printlwriter or star. Now I will ask, compiler, can you please compile my code? If I can ask, immediately compiler is going to tell, Durga, I can't compile. Then I will ask, what problem you are facing with this? Then, Durga, you are trying to write hello to abc.txt. At runtime, there may be a chance of hello.txt may not available. If hello.txt is not available, there may be a chance. How you can handle, like immediately compiler is going to object. Durga, there is a possibility, there is a chance of rising, so file not found exception, but you are not handling about this exception, then how I can compile this code? Like compiler is going to ask very blindly. Do you know? So what exact compile time error we are going to get? Okay. So unreported exception. If you compile exact error, unreported exception, java.io.file not found exception. Java.io.file not found exception. File not found exception must be caught. Must be caught or declared to be thrown. Must be caught or declared to be thrown. This is the exact compile time error we are going to get, right? Even though in our system abc.txt file is there, but still compiler is going to ask, Durga, there may be a chance of rising file not found exception. How you can handle? First let me know, then only I can compile. But strictly speaking, there is a chance of arithmetic exception. Compulsory arithmetic exception is going to rise, but compiler never going to object arithmetic exception, whether you are handling or not. So there are some exceptions which are checked by compiler for smooth execution of the program, whether we are, so the exceptions which are checked by compiler, so such type of exceptions are by default considered as checked exceptions, right? Okay, this compiler is asking, whenever we are writing some data to your file, boss, there may be a chance of file not found exception. How you can handle? First let me know, then only I can compile. Are you getting right? The exceptions which are checked by compiler, whether programmer handling or not, such type of exceptions are called, so checked exceptions, right? Okay, this but compiler never going to object about arithmetic exception, right? So the exception which are not checked by compiler, these exceptions are by default considered as arithmetic unchecked exceptions, right? Okay, this can you tell arithmetic exception, is it a checked exception or unchecked exception? Unchecked. File not found exception, is it a checked or unchecked? Checked exception, right? So what is a checked exception? The exceptions which are checked by compiler for smooth execution of the program at runtime, these exceptions are by default considered as checked exceptions, right? Whether programmer handling or not, compiler is always going to check. But what about unchecked exception? Compiler never going to check whether we are handling or not. So here most of the people are having some misperception in their mind. Checked exceptions are the exceptions which occurs at compile time. Unchecked exceptions are the exceptions which occurs at runtime. No such type of terminology. Whether the exception is checked exception or unchecked exception, compulsory it should occur at runtime only. Okay, this. Then immediately ask, sir, what is the advantage of checking by whether the programmer handling or not at the beginning only by compiler? Simple example. Let me create a small analogy, right? Suppose, I hope you people completed 10th class. Completed, right? 10th class. In your lifetime, first time you are going to write very serious public exams in the 10th class only. 10th class. But at 7th class anyway public, but namesake public. We won't keep that much concentration on 7th exam. But final 10th class is, everyone is a bit panicked. So, that day is the first exam. N number of formalities are there at your house. So, special puja for all ticket, special puja for pen, all these things. And ready to start for the exam. Immediately your mother is going to ask her, you are ready to start. Mother is going to ask her, Arey, are you taking all ticket or not? Can you please cross check? So, immediately I will check. Yes ma'am, I am bringing all ticket, I am taking all ticket, like. If you are not going to take all ticket, where will be the problem? The problem at runtime. Invigilator is not allowed to enter into the hall. Are you getting? So, if the mother is going to check at the beginning, what is the advantage at runtime, so you won't face any problem, right? Are you getting? So, if the compiler is going to check, then what is the advantage? At runtime, execution of the program will be very smooth. Are you getting right? So, hall ticket missing exception. Is it a checked exception or unchecked exception? Checked exception, because at the beginning only mother can able to check. Okay, this is second thing. Mother can ask, Arey, are you taking extra pen or not? There may be a chance of pen not working exception. Are you taking extra pen or not? Like, so immediately you can show, yes, I am taking extra pen, like. If you show that one, then automatically, okay, no problem. If you are not taking extra pen, where will be the problem? The problem at runtime. At the exam hall, if the pen is not working, if you are not having extra pen, then there may be a chance of problem. That's why, if the mother is going to check these things at the beginning, at runtime, my program execution will be very smooth. Are you getting right? Who is going to play mother role? Here is compiler is going to play. Are you getting right? So, there are some exceptions, most commonly occurred exception, which can be checked by the compiler, whether programmer handling or not. These type of exceptions are called what? Checked exceptions, right? Look at this here. But there are some exceptions. Compiler never going to ask, or mother can't ask. Suppose here, mother can ask, Arey, are you taking all ticket or not? Or are you taking extra pen or not? Mother can ask. Suppose, if you while writing the exam, just beside you, there's a big bomb blast. How you can handle? If the mother can ask this type of question? No. Because in the exam hall, there may be a chance of bomb blast exception. But how many times bomb blast exception is going to occur? Very rare. Out of 1 crore time, maybe 1 time or 2 times. Is nothing but in India as of now, no bomb blast reported in the exam hall anyway. Look at this here. Very rare. Very rarely occurred exception. Compiler is not going to check. Or until runtime, we don't know that. These kind of thing, compiler never going to check. Such type of exceptions are by default considered as what? Unchecked exceptions, right? I hope you can able to understand. So, which are checked, which are unchecked, right? Add. So, in the case of checked exception, compulsory program are required to handle. But in how many ways we can handle? Anyway, you know. So, must be caught either by try catch or by declare to be thrown or by using throws keyword, right? So, program are required to handle either by try catch or by throws keyword. Anyway, right? Okay. The exception which are checked by compiler for smooth execution of the program at runtime, these exceptions are by default considered as checked exceptions, right? I hope that terminology is clear. Okay, that's all. So, what is checked exception? What is unchecked exception, right? The exceptions which are checked by compiler, whether we are handling or not, these exceptions are called checked exception, right? The exceptions which are not checked by compiler, are called unchecked exceptions, right? Best example, file not found exception reported by compiler, but arithmetic exception not reported by compiler. That's why arithmetic exception is the checked or unchecked? Unchecked. File not found exception is the checked or unchecked? Checked, right? Okay, this is. So, but most of the people, by seeing this line, unreported exception, file not found exception, must be caught or declared to be thrown. By seeing this type of line at compile time, most of the people are going to fail. Checked exceptions will occur at compile time, unchecked exceptions will occur at runtime. Here, if you observe, compiler is just telling, Durga, you didn't report about file not found exception. So first report by try catch or by throws keyword, like compiler is going to ask, right? Are you getting? It doesn't mean file not found exception occurs at compile time. Are you getting? So whether exception is checked or unchecked, compulsory it should occur only at runtime. There is no chance of occurring any exception at compile time, right? Take a note. That's all. Are you getting right? So the exceptions which are checked by compiler, whether the programmer handling or not, checked exception. The exceptions which are unable to checked by compiler or won't checked by compiler, those things are unchecked exceptions, right? Okay, this is whether exception is checked or unchecked, compulsory it should occur only at runtime. There is no chance of occurring any exception yet compile time, right? Okay, this is. So it is the most valuable important point anyway, right? But now we have several exceptions are there. So exceptions or errors are there, which are checked, which are unchecked. Compulsory you people should have clarity, right? If you observe exception hierarchy, okay, we have very brief hierarchy, let me explain. We have throwable, like one class is there, throwable, which acts as root for exception hierarchy. Throwable contain 2 child classes. Can you spell out what is the first child class? Exception. Second child class is nothing but what? Error. Exception, error. In the exception, for the exception, there are several child classes are there. Runtime exception, runtime exception, runtime exception. Next, for the runtime exception, there are several child classes. Arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, class cast exception. Next, array index out of bounds exception. Like there are several things. Here also for runtime exception, IO exception, IO exception. Okay. Next, for the IO, there is file not found exception. File not found exception. Next, EOF exception. EOF exception. EOF exception. Dot dot dot. Here also interrupted exception. Okay, like there are several. Similarly, for error also, there are several child classes are there. VM error. Can you spell out what is the VM error? Virtual machine error. For this, out of memory error. Out of memory error. Next, stack overflow error. Out of memory error, stack overflow error. Okay, like next, linkage error. Linkage error. For that, verify error. Linkage error, verify error, like there are several. Now, among all which are checked and which are unchecked, you should have clear clarity, right? Let me consider error case. Can you tell errors are caused by our program or due to lack of system resources? Which one is the correct? Errors are not caused by our program. Errors are caused by due to lack of system resources. Sufficient heap memory is not there. Out of memory error. Or stack size is going to overflow. Stack overflow error. So the problem is not with our program. The problem because of our system is nothing but errors are going to come. That's why compiler never going to object. Durga, there may be a chance of out of memory error. How you can handle? Or there may be a chance of stack overflow error. How you can handle? Because errors handling is not a programmer responsibility. Who is going to handle? System administrator or otherwise server admin is the responsible. So that's why errors compiler never going to object whether you are handling or not. That's why these are checked or unchecked. Unchecked exceptions, right? Make sure errors are unchecked. Error and its child classes unchecked. Similarly, okay, runtime exception and its child classes. Runtime exception and its child classes. Error and its child classes are unchecked. Unchecked. Except this, the remaining part by default considered as checked exceptions, right? Now, can you tell arithmetic exception checked or unchecked? Unchecked. Null pointer exception unchecked. IO exception checked. Checked. Interrupted exception checked. Error checked or unchecked? Unchecked, right? So make sure error and its child classes, runtime exception and its child classes are unchecked. Unchecked, except that remaining by default are considered checked exceptions, right? Take a note 2. Are you able to understand? So what is a checked and what is unchecked? The exceptions, of course, which are checked, which are unchecked. Whether it is checked or unchecked, it is always going to occur at runtime. There is no chance of occurring at compile time, right? Is it clear for all of you, right? Okay. So that's all. These are various things you people should aware about checked and unchecked exception, right? But here one thing, most of the people not having clear clarity about checked and unchecked, in the total exception handling concept will become a bit difficult. That's why, because everywhere throws keyword, throw keyword, everywhere this terminology is very important. That's why compulsory you people should have clear clarity, right? Okay, this at the last finishing, let me explain one more small example so that you people can able to understand very easily, right? Let me explain one more analogy easily. Suppose assume in your house you require to plan for one function. you have to perform some arrangements for some function. Your father is a bit busy, you call, so your father call you, Arey, can you please take all function responsibilities like, okay, first time you are getting the opportunity to manage some function, you felt very happy, then you told that I can handle very carefully, not required to worry, like you took that responsibility. What your father did is, he called his father, that is your grandfather. He called your grandfather. Your father called his father saying that I gave these function responsibilities to my kid, but my kid not having that much experience. Can you please observe whether he is doing properly or not? Like for just a monitoring purpose, what your father did is nothing but he arranged his father for monitoring purpose, right? Now, first time you got in your life some function management activities, you are almost flying in the air. So you are do this, like you are managing all the workers, you are full busy, that is flying in the air. Then your grandfather called, Arey, can you please come once? Then you went. Then your grandfather asked one question, Arey, for how many members you are preparing dinner? Like he asked. Then you told exactly 532 members. Then immediately your grandfather got shocked. How exactly 532 have you decided like? Then you told with very innocent face, I gave 532 cards only, invitation cards only. Arey, by mistake, if a friend bring his friend also, or if a friend bring his wife also, then automatically how you can handle? If you distribute 532 cards, don't expect immediately exactly 532 members are going to come. There may be a chance of more than that. How you can handle? Are you getting? There may be a chance of insufficient dinner exception. There is a chance. It doesn't mean insufficient dinner exception occurs. There is a chance of insufficient dinner exception. There is a chance. So how you can handle is nothing like your grandfather asked. Then automatically grandfather didn't expect. So anyway, so instead of 532, now I will arrange 600 members. Then automatically I hope even some members are going to come, no problem at all. My program in a position to handle. Like you prepared dinner for 600 members. At runtime, 580 members came. Is your program in a position to handle or not? Yes. If your grandpa won't ask about this one, if he didn't ask about, then at runtime your program will be in the big trouble. Are you getting right? So the exceptions which are checked by grandfather at the beginning for smooth execution of the program at runtime, these exceptions are by default considered checked exceptions, right? Are you getting? So who is going to play grandfather role in our program? Compiler is going to play. Are you getting right? The exception which are checked by compiler for smooth execution of the program at runtime is nothing but checked exception. It doesn't mean exception occurs compulsory. There is a possibility, right? Then automatically, after some time, your grandpa called once again. Arey, can you please come once? Then you went there. Durga, how many members are going to come for the function? Almost 530 or 600 members are going to come. There may be a chance of short circuit exception. Power short circuit happened. All the 600 members got died. How you can handle? If the grandpa is going to ask this type of question, if the grandpa is going to ask this question, then I will give left and right to grandpa. Otherwise, I can call my father saying, grandfather is asking this type of question, is nothing but like that. Because there is a possibility. Short circuit exception. All the members got died. Possibility is there. But how many times it is possible? Very rare. Out of 1 crore times, maybe a chance of one time. The very rarely occurred exception compiler is not going to check. Such type of exceptions are by default considered as unchecked exceptions, right? Are you getting? So which are checked, which are unchecked, you should have clear clarity, right? Okay, that's all. So this is about checked and unchecked exceptions, the difference. If you are able to understand this one, in the next level things, so throw keyword, throws keyword, these are things you can very easily understand. Okay, that's all.